report out of your mind. If you got time to do everything anybody asks you to do, you probably got the lid on. If when you tell your dreams to all your friends, it makes sense to them, you got your lid on, man. Your dreams should not make sense to everybody. You gotta say something that make people go, how you gonna do that? That's when you got the lid off. And if I were you, I'd do that. I'd take the lid off. Makes sense to me, don't it?
They're always gonna get ready to get set to get going. What we've gotta do is, boom, just like that, move into action.
Every time you remember your dream, you're removing some dirt. You're digging it back out. The true mark of a champion is even though some dirt gets thrown on your dream, instead of letting it get buried, you keep shaking it off. You keep moving forward. You keep looking for new opportunities. You wouldn't be having that opposition if you didn't have something great in you. If your dream wasn't alive and on track, right on schedule to come to pass, you wouldn't have so many things coming against you. That dream is still alive. You may have tried a year ago, 5 years ago, or 40 years ago. Didn't work out. Nobody was there to help you. Go back and try again. This is your time. This is your moment. Your destiny is calling out to you. Can I tell you, your dream is not dead. It's just not in season. Your time is coming. Promotion is coming. Good breaks are coming. Promises you've been standing on. Dreams you've been praying about. Lack is not your destiny. Constantly struggling, barely getting by is not the end of your story. These light afflictions are for a moment. The adversity is temporary. The glory is eternal. Lord, I believe this is my year to get healthy and whole. This is my year to meet the people of my dreams. This is my year to go further in my career, to step into a new level of my destiny. This is my year to accomplish dreams, to break free from this depression. This is my year to meet the right people. This is my year to get healthy and whole. This is your year to see double. This is your year for vindication, for restoration, for new beginnings. Now get your mind going in the right direction.
Here's the secret. The people that do the most with their lives, the people that seem the most self-assured, the ones that seem to embody confidence, the ones that seem to define confidence, they're the ones that had to face down the most fear. They simply didn't linger in it.
Don't hate your competitors. Respect your competitors. Learn from him.
I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, who's your hero? And I said, I don't know, I got to think about that. Give me a couple of weeks. I said, I thought about it. You know who it is? I said, it's me in 10 years. So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, so are you a hero? And I was like, not even close. I said, why? I said, because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero is always 10 years away. I'm never going to be a hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing.
That's the thing. Success and failure are generally slow processes. Either slowly building things up or gradually tearing them down. And that's why I say you've got to pay attention. You have to watch. You have to watch every single second.
Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart.
I believe in manifestation. I believe in putting a rocket of desire out into the universe, and you get it when you believe it. You get it when you believe you have it, and that's the key.
So we want to get really sensitized, acutely sensitized, sensory acuity, to whether what we're doing is working or not. And by the way, sensory acuity is really the measure of a person's intelligence. What I mean by that is, how do we measure intelligence? Intelligence is a measure of the number and quality of distinctions you have in a given situation.
You can handle this, you just haven't figured it out yet. It's all right, this is your training period. This is the tuition you have to pay for what you don't know. You can do this, other people have done it. It doesn't take an Einstein. Get you some people that can teach you some stuff that you don't know. Get you some people that have done it successfully and learn from them. Take some seminars, workshops, read some books on how to manage a business. Change the way you see yourself and begin to tend to the personal details. Understand that nobody's going to take care of your business better than you.
You will notice the most successful people in any field, they are usually the ones who have failed more than anybody else. You see the difference between a successful person and everyone else? It's not a lack of strength. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of will.
It's up to you in a world where we're taught to look outside for answers, for a job that will make us happy, for money that will make us happy. The answer is within. We already have it. We already have the answer, but will we unleash it? Will we give it? Will we own it? Will we truly reinvent ourselves to become the people that we're capable of becoming?
The bow too tightly strung is easily broken, says one of the proverbs. Balance is a gorgeous thing. So be monomaniacal in your execution around your high-value targets, your HVTs, your mission plan, but also build in some rewards. And that's going to send a gorgeous message to your conscious and your subconscious mind that, hey, this daily practice of execution around my deliverables is a beautiful thing. And you create this thing called momentum. And the monk who sold his Ferrari, I went back and I saw this recently. I think there's a whole chapter on momentum. And you become like this. I love skiing. You start off small, but as you go down the slope, you pick up momentum. A lot of people say, Robin, where do I start? I want to start a new business. I want to become a better artist. I want to find the love of my life. I want to be a world-class creative. I want to multiply my financial life. Where do I start? You just start. You just start. There's great power in the start.
I've been very fortunate over the last 3 decades to be involved in hundreds of millions of dollars of financings. Everything from raising capital for Home Shopping Network to smart cards to Ashworth Golf. And through that process, we happen to be an industry where there's a lot of failures because not every business succeeds. Matter of fact, most businesses fail. So when you're an investor and you're losing money on most businesses, you tend to learn a lot about marketing, management, teams, strategy, structure, etc., etc., etc. Be committed to your dream. Be committed to your business. Be committed to your vision. And then take action. You have to take action. I've had these successes. I've had these failures. And I can tell you what, there is no success without action. I am always learning, always reading, always watching a video, always listening to audiobooks. I'm always putting something to work to learn more. I think that's one of my biggest things that I would just like to leave as a legacy is I want people to just really be committed to learning and sharpening their skill set in every facet of their life.
Here we go. I am learning. I am always learning. I am committed to learning. I want to be a legacy to inspire people to always be learning. ABL. I don't know what that is, if it's new or not. Hey, everybody, Greg Ryder coming at you. It is a great day to be alive. And I want to say thanks for joining me today. Appreciate you. Put a comment in the box. Let me know that you can hear me, maybe what city you're calling in from, how you heard about this, and anything about you. A unique thing about you would be interesting to see too. We're going to get started like we do always, really momentarily, waiting for a few more people to jump on. A unique thing about me that you may or may not know is I'm a hang glider pilot. I've been hang gliding since I was 15. Like literally, I run off a mountain on my feet, fly around like a bird with the birds, with the eagles, with the hawks, and land on my feet. Someday I got to show a video. I got to get a video, put in my little video clip for that because I think it's super cool. What up, Barry? Barry's coming in from Toronto. So that means that you guys can hear me okay. All right, so with that being said, today's training is very important. And I want everyone to take notes and do what you need to do and make sure you really understand what's going on. Hey, Jim, thanks for joining me, and Deidre. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. why most businesses are going to lose to AI and how you can win. And this is a big, big, big mindset shift. This is a big, 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 and this is a priority. This isn't like we have to do this or we should. This isn't like we should do this. This isn't like, well, maybe it's a should have. This is a must have. This is a must do. Now, and again, that's from my perspective as a business that wants to grow and scale and be meaningful. I don't have that doomsday approach that if you don't do this, you're gonna like completely go out of business, but it's gonna be really difficult. Okay. So that's what we're gonna get into here in a few minutes. But before we do that, we always start with the mindset moment, the mindset minute. And today's mindset minute is your identity. How do you see yourself? Your identity in this the identity crisis, or it's literally your operating system is how you see yourself, your self-esteem, your identity, your belief systems. And most people are running on like a 20-year-old story about who they are, what they are, where they become, all that kind of stuff, right? And we have to really get rid of that. You guys hear me talk about Les Brown talking about it's possible. You got to believe it's possible, or you got to be hungry, right? And this idea that I'm not tech savvy. I was listening to a Patrick Bet-David podcast a couple days ago, and he's got a partner on there named Tom, and Tom is 64, and Tom is setting up OpenClaw, doing AI, doing all kinds of stuff, and he's 64, right? So you're not too old, you're not too young, you're not like old, there's no reason, no excuse, never, there is none. You have to get rid of that mindset, and you have to start changing your identity. And because I got Barry on here, I'll refer back to, I remember Lisa Nichols back in the day when Barry Spilchuk and myself and Lisa Nichols used to share the stage together. And she used to always say, there's a little negative self-talk. You have to turn off that little negative self-talk recorder, and you have to flip it. You guys have heard me say, I'm flipping it with Jesus. Like whenever I have a negative thought that comes into affect me, I'm like, start thinking about Jesus, start thinking about the Bible, start thinking about all the good that he's done for me. That's how I do it. But you want to get rid of that negative self-talk. You need to change your identity of yourself and really go deep into your soul and ask yourself, do you need to change your identity? Is that what's holding you back? Is that what's keeping you from doing what you need to do? Is that what's keeping you procrastinating? If that's what's keeping you from success? Is that what's keeping you from, you getting out of your own way? And if that's you and you feel that when you meditate or pray on that, then literally make that a priority, do something about it, because there's nothing more important than that. There's nothing more important about if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. All right. That's today's Mindset Minute. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I've got a bunch of notes here today because I really want to make sure that I'm doing this. Now, let me say something about me and what's going on in my life, because it's important to you understand. I love to teach. I love to share. I love to share my wisdom and my vulnerabilities, everything. I'm a very transparent leader. I think of myself as a transparent leader. And when you see me teaching something, a lot of times it's because I'm talking to myself. I need this. What we're going to go over today, I need it. So I know that as a man of integrity, that when I say I'm going to teach something, I'm going to get into it, dig into it, and kind of get, where I want to go with it. But then it's also going to help me do this. Okay? So I was going to try to put together a poll so I could ask you guys a question, but let me just ask a poll with you live. How many of you know what an SOP is? Say yes if you know what an SOP is, an SOP, and pretty much every business owner that's had employees should know what an SOP is. And if you've ever created 1 or 5 or 10, put in the box, I've created 5, I've created 3, I've created 10, I've created whatever, right? So let's see. I got Eddie says yes, Robbie says yes, Mike says yes. Okay, so we all know what SOP is. Yes, standard operating procedure. You got it. There you go, Peter. Thanks, Peter. Okay, so how many SOPs have you created? Right? And then the question is, why do you create an SOP? Typically, it's because you're hiring somebody, or you have a department, or you have a marketing department, a bookkeeping department, accounting department, an editing department, and you're creating a standard operating procedures. Okay? So this has been around forever. This has been around forever. And every successful business that has scaled to something meaningful has created their business on the back of SOPs, on the back of standard operating procedures. Okay, so I gotta tell you guys, I know what they are. I've done a lousy job at creating them. I don't like creating them. It's not my, as Barry Spilchek would say, if it's not your genius, it's not your job. Well, it surely isn't my genius, okay? If you guys can relate to that, put it in I can relate, okay? So, but I do understand them, and I do understand they need them. And just even like yesterday or 2 days ago, my daughter was here for Easter, Candace, and she said she's got a job working with another company right now. And then she says, they got all kinds of SOPs. And she goes, I really like it. I really like the structure. And it just goes back to like, that's something, that's a skill set. It's something that's to do. Okay. So that's the foundation for today's training is that was the past. And here's the new. Here's the new. You have to start thinking of your business in workflows, right? You have to start thinking your business in workflows, and you got to take an SOP and even take it down even to a different level of degree, like even more. And I'm going to go over we're going to make up some real world examples as we go, but you have to think in workflows. And then we have to remember we're building software, we're building businesses that can be run and operated by agents. What is an agent? An agent is the new AI that has learned skills that can implement and execute workflows. You guys get that? Right? So this is a big shift for me, right? It's like, I'm not, like, think of this for just an example. We all build websites with these beautiful UIs and these beautiful graphics and all these beautiful, and we want it to be good on our brand. An agent reviewing your website, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, you name them, right? They're reviewing your website because somebody's asking a question and they're thinking about who they're going to recommend. They're not looking at your website from a graphical standpoint. They don't care the navigation bar. They don't care the images. They don't care. Look, they care what it says and what it provides and the content on that site. And that's like kind of a, when you take that to the next level, it's kind of a mind-blowing concept that, the world is going to be reviewed and everything's going to be done by bots. Bots is another word for it, or agents. And again, let me lay the groundwork for an agent and the difference. Most of us use AI. We give an input, we get an output. We give an input, we get an output. And I've said for weeks and weeks and weeks and months, the better the input, the better the output. That's why we create the business context document. That's why we create the brand voice document. That's why we create the ideal client profile document, because I feed those 3 documents into whatever AI I'm using, and I ask it to help me with email marketing, with social media campaign, landing pages, whatever, and it's going to give me back way better information whether if I just ask it a generic question without that context. Okay, agents and the new AI. And what's happened literally in the last few months, I think it originally got released in September, but it's really kind of blown up in the last few months, is like the OpenClaw was the beginning of it. Now there's all kinds of them coming out there, but it's now you create skills, workflows, and these workflows, then the AI can execute a workflow. Okay. So let me give you an example of what we're doing right now. And I don't have any screenshots or anything to show you, so I'm just going to describe it to you. But we have a workflow where we have and basically it's an elaborate standard operating procedure is really what it is, right? But it gets a little bit more minute. So it's like, first thing is research. So there's a research skill. And what we want to do is we want to train, or we want to give the workflow of research. Okay, so let's say we're doing research for Launchcart and print on demand. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, we want to do some research for Launchcart users and for Launchcart's website, and we want to find articles, information, and posts and videos and YouTube channels that are talking about print on demand, what's working, what's not working, and that kind of stuff. So go to Printful.com. So now instead of just saying, okay, do some research on this topic, no, I'm saying go to Printful.com and read their blog. Go to printify.com and read their blog. Go to Reddit, search for print on demand, and read the post with the most engagement, the most users. You guys get the point? So now I'm breaking this down into a workflow. Research, go here, go here, go here, go here. Then the branch of that workflow is look for information that's getting a lot of likes, a lot of engagement, and we can tell it's leading edge. And then I want you to compile the top 3, the top 5, the top 10. And then we're going to go and review, and then you pass that off to the editor or the writer, the copywriter. Then the copywriter goes, okay, I got all this research. Now the copywriter is another skill that's going to take all this research, then it's going to take launch cards, brand voice, business context document, everything it knows about launch card, and write some articles that would speak to our audience about what's trending, what's going on, what's working on out there. Okay, so now they got the copywriter writes an article. Then from there, you take that article and you take it over to the graphic guy. The graphic guy says, okay, here's the article, here's what it's about. Now we want to create a thumbnail that would be a high performing thumbnail for YouTube and other different places, and take this, create a prompt to write a thumbnail. Then from there, the workflow goes over to Gemini, and then it goes over to Gemini and it copy and paste that prompt. Then it downloads that image. Now it's got the article, the image, and then you say, last thing is now we want to take all this content that we're going to post on our blog, and we're going to take it to another skill for search engine optimization and answer engine optimization. And we're going to make sure the article is written in such a way that it's going to get the search engine rankings for the particular keywords. It's going to link to other sites within our ecosystem. And we're going to add, and I don't even know what they do here because I don't do this. But it's like there's some type of language or something you add to it for the answer engine optimization, and then they add that. Then you take it to the skill set who posts it. They actually log into our website, go to our blog, post the title, the description, the header. And again, I'm giving you a pretty good description of it. There's probably even some things I'm leaving out because this is not my skill set, not what I do. But do you guys understand what I'm saying? Do you guys get that as a workflow, as a standard operator? It's like we're breaking it down to the absolute, step by step. Go to this website, click here, log in here, do this, right? It's really kind of in amazing, right? So think about that. So now, and the reason why I say most businesses will lose to AI is because they're not thinking of their business and every facet of their business as a workflow. But the minute you start doing that and you start documenting it, you're going to find there's a lot of things in your business that you can have agents do, bots. And guess how much that agent costs? Basically the cost of the electricity, the cost of the tokens, right? So rudimentary, right? I got an agent that answers the phone. Now I got to program that agent how to talk, what their tone of voice should be, how they're going to be friendly, what the goal of the call would be. Hey, the goal of the call is to answer support and direct them to the right place. Oh, the goal of the call is to book them on our calendar. The goal of the call is to sell them on our features and functionality. Whatever those goals are, right? Then through language and SOPs, basically, right, through this workflow, we can tell the robot agent how to talk to people who answer the phone. Does that make sense? And we really have to put this together in that fashion and start thinking about our business, right? So in my notes, we got the old way. I need to hire an editor. I need to hire a virtual assistant. We have been taught, and we've been thinking in the world of roles. This is your role. You're the marketing director. You are the editor. You are the video editor. You are the social media manager, right? Whatever. We've been thinking in roles. And again, you surely wouldn't hire somebody as a video editor without giving them some instructions on how you want them to edit your videos and your video content. You wouldn't hire somebody to do social media content for you without giving them instructions on how to do the social media content. So now we take this to the next level and we start breaking it down into workflows. And I have an idea. okay, what's my idea? Let's do some research on my idea, right? So you just break everything down to the minutest thing you can break it down to, and then you basically take that and you start creating agents to do the work for you, right? So the old way, right? I need an editor, I need to hire a VA, I've been thinking in roles. Now the new way is stop asking, who do I need to hire? Start asking, what are the actual tasks in this job role, in this role for this workflow? And every role is just bundled as a whole bunch of tasks, right? And our job is to unbundle them and put them in this workflow format, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, on and on and on. So each task becomes its own workflow that can be mapped, trained, and automated. Now, think about this for a second. I don't want to get rid of or fire anyone. I don't want anyone to lose their jobs. But if you don't get this figured out, you could lose your job. On the other hand, if you do figure this out, you could be the most valuable person in your company, in your business. Let's say you work for somebody else. If you're the person that knows how to implement and create these workflows and get agents to do the work for you, now you can scale at a pace that's unprecedented. I hope this is making sense to you guys, okay? Okay, so far, let's rate it. So far on a scale of 1 to 10, are you guys with me on this? Is the like you really haven't heard this, or this is, let's say if you've heard it before, this is not new to you, lower the number. If this is new to you and you're getting it, the higher number. So 10 the highest, 5 being 1, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you guys think. So here's the other thing. So as an exercise that you could do for your business is, can you draw your business in a linear workflow? A linear workflow. Every facet in a linear workflow, right? And if you can't draw it, maybe you don't really have a business, right? Because out of everything, we should be able to do it. We should be able to draw it, right? Look at Raul. Raul saying, I am deep in AI prompting, content engineering. I built 12 agents for an app and RAG to go with it. Don't just create AI. Don't just use AI, create it. That's very good. Good job, Raul. So again, think about this let's take one more example. Okay. Let's say going back to print on demand e-commerce, right? Unless you're creating a brand, well, that's a whole different scenario, right? But let's say I want to launch a business flipping merch, t-shirts, hats, and hoodies online, and I want to chase trends. We used to have the business called Chasing Trends, and we want to go back to what Dan and Dwight taught for years. Is we have to, one, research which designs are selling. Okay, we taught, I don't know how many different webinars. Go to Amazon, type in your topic, see which search, see how many there sells. Go to Etsy, type in your topic, type in your idea, see designs that are just like it, exactly like it, or find their design and find out how many sales they're making based on sales and comments and reports and dollar volume. And we had that tool for Amazon where it's telling me how much sales were going on. So that's a starting point. It's like research. Okay, I'm going to create a skill, and that guy's just going to go to Amazon and Etsy every single day, and he's going to find designs, and the top selling t-shirt designs are going. Then from there, we're going to go look at those designs, go, okay, do they meet our KPIs? So then we take it through a KPI skill, going, okay, here's the KPIs we're looking for. When we see a design that's got this many sales, we see a design that's got this much going on, and blah, 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 then we want to take it to our design. Then we take it over to AI, and we say, then we can literally take a design, take it into AI, go to Gemini or something, go to Gemini, upload an image of this AI, and say, here's who I am, here's what I'm doing, here's what's going on, and change this design so make it my own design, and give me 5 different variations that might, help us sell better. Boom, there's 5 more designs. Then you can take those and look, you can automate that entire process. There are people doing it, right? Building their products for them, researching the designs, creating the designs, optimizing the designs, putting them on shirts, uploading them to the store, and then going on from there. So I appreciate the comments. Thank you guys, Jim and Eddie and everybody. Thank you for that, right? So again, and just again, reiterate, right? We would not hire somebody and not train them and expect great work. But that's exactly what a lot of people do. And the thing with AI is you think you're going to get great work by not training it. You have to train it. You have to have the agents. You have to create these skills, and you have to learn this stuff. And you don't have to learn it tomorrow, but you have to spend time going back to I love to learn. Spend time every day figuring this stuff out. Spend time every day figuring out what's going on. Why? Because the machine is cheap, electricity is cheap, and it never sleeps. And the other day I was listening to a podcast with Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, right? He was with Google for about 20 years. You think he knows a few things? And he was just going, yeah, I saw this thing today and blew my mind. And then the next day I woke up and I saw something else that blew my mind. I woke up the next day, that blew my mind. And every day I'm waking up and where it's blowing my mind. Okay, when the former CEO of Google is telling you that, that gives you an idea of how fast this stuff is moving, right? And so on that podcast, one of the guys was talking about, he gives this prompt. He works during the day on the prompts, gives the prompts to the agents at night, goes on, wakes up in the morning, and everything's done. And so that's what we're doing right now with content. We call it we're going to launch the Launch Content Engine, and it's creating blog posts for us. And on one of the accounts we did it with Angel Investors Network, we've created about 300 articles, I think, so far. Our Google impressions on search and search consoles went from 200 impressions a day to 20,000 impressions a day. Okay, so we're trying to figure out things that we can share with you where you can generate traffic so you can make sales by leveraging these agents that are extremely cheap as compared to hiring a social media team, as compared to hiring that marketing manager, et cetera, right? Anybody got any questions? Are you stuck on this? Do you any questions that I can answer about this? Now, while I'm waiting on some questions to come in, where this is at now is back office, right? Invoicing, billing, receivables, lead nurture. This is already possible today with practically perfection, right? With Claude Code and things like that, it can reconcile your checkbook and kind of do your basic bookkeeping with, importing the stuff from the bank account, going into your QuickBooks, making sure it's all done right. And if it's not done right, it'll ask you the questions. So bookkeeping is there. Automating invoices with Launch CRM, you can automate your invoices. You can automate your lead nurture. And then all that's not even with AI. That's just with automations and tools, but still a workflow, right? That we're thinking through. Still a workflow, right? Then you want to start working on the workflow for your brand delivery. Is this off brand? Is this on brand, right? Your pattern detection. In your business, the sooner that you can detect patterns, the faster you're going to fix problems and scale good ideas, good things, right? And again, I know it's time consuming, so we have to really kind of think about all the different possibilities and then have a conversation with AI on what can move the needle the fastest with your business. Take this video, wait a day, come back here, get the transcript, drop the transcript into AI, create some formula or create some frameworks and say, well, Greg was teaching on this thing. I want to have a conversation with you about this in my business. So take the transcript of this video, upload your business context document, your ICP, your brand voice, and go, let's talk about my business. What's the one thing that I could automate that's going to move the needle for me fastest? Or on saving money, or on making money, or on driving traffic, or on making more sales, or on increasing my conversion rate on my opt-in page, right? This is how this is done these days. You're leveraging AI to speed up everything you're doing in life. And if you're not doing that, you're missing the boat, and there's a good chance you're going to be forced out of business, right? So you really need to take this stuff to heart. You really need to work on this stuff. And then when you can start tracking those patterns and figuring out those patterns, and then implement agents to monitor your sales, your revenue, your traffic, where it's coming from, what it's doing, your ads, all that kind of stuff. What images, what creatives working, what social media is working, what social media is getting the best engagement rate, et cetera, we can kind of really take this to a whole nother level, and we can take that intelligence and we can take action on that intelligence faster and more efficient than ever before, right? So there's all kinds of opportunity right now. And if you're sitting here going, my business isn't big enough for this, or this is not relative to me. If you learn this skill set, I think you can get paid $150,000 to $200,000 a year to do this on behalf of businesses. There's a lot of businesses, they're not going to do it. They don't know how to do it. They're not learning it. They're barely not even using ChatGPT and Grok. Think about this too. I think that the percentage of people that are using these tools in the overall scheme of things is not that big. It goes back to like, I'll tell you a quick little story going back a day and age. I raised money for some of the original cell phone companies. And back when the cell phone companies first came out, I had one of the bricks. I don't know if anyone else have a brick. There were these cell phones that were like twice the size of this thing right here. And they were huge and they weighed like 3 pounds. I had a brick. But back in the day, they were issuing cell phone tower licenses based on a lottery. And you had to pay money to get in the lottery. And if they picked your name out, you won. One time I raised $5 million to get in the lottery, and we didn't to get in a whole bunch of lotteries in different cities all around the country. We didn't win one lottery, not one. But I had a friend of mine who did win a lottery. And I think he had $300,000 to get in the lotteries he was in, and that $300,000 turned into like 90 million. So like we're at the very beginning of this. There's plenty of room, plenty of time, plenty of stuff, but get the mindset, commit to training and learning every day, right? So here's the one sentence takeaway. Stop thinking in roles. Map every action in your business. Break it down until you can't anymore and automate it. Train your AI the same way you would train your best employee. Boom, clip that. All right, cool. All right, thank you. Jim says this is good. I like Eddie's like 8. I know about it, but I need more of the best way to implement it. And the best way to implement it is ask AI how to implement it. Like take recordings like this, get the transcript from YouTube, put it in there, and then tell it to help you implement it, what you should do. So Barry says, is it possible to ask AI to help you by saying, can you help me determine the perfect question to ask so I can optimize a relationship with you regarding research, copy, SEO? Okay, look. Now, Barry, when you say ask you, are you talking about asking me, Greg? Or are you talking, who are you asking? I don't know who you're asking. And again, that prompt will work and it will give you some information of context. Yeah, but if I'm asking AI, can you determine the perfect question to ask who? Who am I? Who? Or the answer to your question is yes. But if you want to get, it's kind of like if I train an employee, go mop the floor. Right? Here's a good example. I had a memory. You tell your kids to go clean their room. And my wife used to say, "Go clean your room," and then they'd go like make their bed, and then dirty clothes everywhere, dishes all over the place. And she'd get upset that they didn't clean their room. I'm like, honey, you've got to tell them, make your bed, vacuum the floor, put away the dirty dishes, put all the clothes away, wipe everything down, or you have to tell them what that means. They don't know. That's too generic. So the same thing. If you give AI your business context document, Barry just wrote a new book, everybody. So you give them your book or what you want to accomplish with your book, all that kind of stuff, and start having a conversation with it. It for sure, absolutely 100% will give you amazing results. Now, with that being said, I've said this before in the past, add one little thing to that. For me, I say, who are the best marketers that I really look up to? Dan Kennedy, Frank Kern, Alex Hormozy, Ryan Dice, digital marketer. Those are some of the ones that come to the top of my mind. Those are the ones that have the biggest impact on me, and I think they're brilliant. All of them are brilliant people. Marshall Silver, when it comes to speaking, what he does, he's amazing, right? So these are brilliant people. So then you can say, and they're so high profile that you can say, here's my question, here's what I need help with, and I want you to pretend like I'm having a conversation with Marshall Silver, with Elon Musk, with Dan Kennedy. How would Dan Kennedy phrase this? Or Jason Fladlin's another one for webinars. How would Jason Fladlin answer this? And so you take and in your world of book authoring and stuff, and Jack Canfield and all the big book authors, how would they answer this? And so you add that little context to, here's my context, here's my question, and I want you to take on the role of digital marketing expert, or I want you to take on the role of Frank Kern, so it's either a role of a digital marketing expert, right? Or it's an actual individual, and you'll get amazing results. Okay. You like that, Barry? Clean your room, perfect analogy, right? Okay. Last call for questions, and we'll wrap it up and call it a day. Excited we got through that. Pretty exciting stuff. What's going on? And again, I'm one of these guys that believes there's going to be a lot of pain, a lot of hurt from the people that don't get on this bandwagon and don't start getting up to speed. But the ones that do, we have opportunity to flourish and make money and make impact like never before in the history of the world. In the history of the world. Like, if you want to make impact, if you want to get your word out there, you want to make the impact on people's lives because of your expertise, you're a coach, you're a mentor, whatever it is you do, this is the time. This is the time to keep going on this. Make it a commitment. Like Jim Rohn used to say, I think it was Jim Rohn, 20 minutes a day. Spend 20 minutes a day minimum. If you really want to put it to pedal to metal, spend 2 hours a day. Right? And I'm one of these binge guys. Like, I'll go 2 hours a day, and then I'll do another 2 hours a day, and then I'll do 2 hours, and then I'll do 4 hours a day. I'll just binge on this stuff. So, all right. I don't see any questions coming in. So I want to say thank you guys very much for attending with me today. I hope you found value in this. I hope you'll share it. I hope you'll share this video, like this video, go to YouTube, comment, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and do what I do. Wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude and tell somebody you love them. You have a better day. Bye, everybody.